Okay, I'll call the meeting to order.
All right. Reading of the OPMA statement on December 9th, 2022. Notice of this meeting was placed on the official Bellmawr Redevelopment Agency website and emailed to both the Carrier Post and Gloucester City News newspapers for publication. The official notice of Borough Clerk was emailed on December 9th, which included a request for posting of the notice to the official Borough Bellmawr website and bulletin board. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met in compliance with the Sunshine Law. Brings us to the flag salute.
I pledge
Allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the
republic
for
which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
for liberty,
indivisible,
liberty,
with liberty and justice for all. All right, brings us to a roll call. If anybody is still muted, please unmute yourself for the roll call. Chairman Frank Philpott.
present.
Vice Chair Ray Bider.
Here.
Commissioner Jim D'Angelo.
Here.
Commissioner Nick Kapados. Commissioner Tom Whitman.
Here.
All right. Commissioner Jeff Simpson.
Here.
Commissioner Neil Patel, he is absent. Josh Trujillo, Executive Director. I am here. Mike McKenna, Solicitor.
Present.
And Dennis McNulty, Engineer. Dennis, you on? I thought I saw you on. I see you. I don't hear you. Are you here? Well, I see him visibly. Dennis, can you confirm that you're here? Is your audio on? All right, we'll come back.
I'm not actually seeing him on my roll, but
He's here. Yeah, I see it on my
He's muted.
let's see.
oh, there he. Oh, I see him now. Okay, there he is, but I don't see him on screen. I actually don't have a cell for him.
Yeah, Dennis, we just want to get you on record and confirm your attendance. Plus, I think, you know, when we get to the Green Acres subdivision portion, you're going to want to be able to speak. Yeah, I don't think I have a cell for him either. Quickly. All right, well, we'll come back to him and try to get him on and get his audio straight. I think I just heard Dennis. You hear me? I thought I just heard audio pop. All right, one last time. Dennis, do you hear me? Nope. All right. Standard agenda for this evening. Reading of the minutes. I'll throw all the way through to the adjournment. We'll keep with the order in terms of going over the Green Acres subdivision material as well. We'll begin with the reading of the minutes from last meeting, November 9th, regular meeting, November 9th, 2022.
Make motion to accept them.
I second it.
All right. I got Mr. Bider on the motion, Mr. Philippek on the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it. Communications, we received both the redevelopers monthly report for December and the traffic engineers quarterly report, all of which were forwarded to you with the materials. Mike will review the redevelopers report shortly. Nothing really earth-shattering or new in the traffic engineers report, other than they're continuing to make headway in terms of working with all the players and stakeholders to figure out a solution to expedite it, the construction of the connector road. So we'll look for another update from Mark in the first quarter. Sorry, commissioner reports. If anybody has anything to say, please do so. Before I get to the executive director's report, Dennis, one last time, I'm going to try to get you on record for the audio. We're not hearing you.
If he's hearing us, ask him to just put something on the chat. So
Sure, yeah, let me take 1 second here.
So at least we know he's hearing us.
All right. All right.
I sent him an email.
Okay, I'd send him a note on the chat. All right, brings us to the executive director's report. And same thing, continuing with the all the reporting due to the state in terms of some of the outstanding financial reports. And again, this was, you know, culminating after not having access to the financial software and then working out some of the bugs that transferred over with it. We've made a lot of headway with the on docket for tonight with the official adoption of budget 2022. Audit 2021 is in process, and in speaking with Bowman, the auditors, if I have all the materials to them by the end of this month, which I don't see any issue doing so, we are targeting February 2023 for certification of that audit. Budget 2023, we will do a temporary budget at the reorg meeting for 2023. That will just be again a mirror of the 2022 budget, so no changes. And then we will do the introduction of the official 2023 budget in February. The reason for that is audit 2021 will have to be certified and completed on the same evening or prior to introducing budget 2023, the official introduction of budget 2023. Professional services, RFPs for 2023, that resolution is on the agenda for this evening. Once approved, we'll post the RFPs by Friday. Deadline to receive the proposals back will be January 6th. And then, of course, the contracts get awarded at the reorg meeting, which has yet to be planned yet as far as the date for January 2023. And then just typical year-end stuff, closing out the financials and then prepping, getting ready for reorg with all the dates and everything else. So that is it for me. Are there any questions for me before I turn it over to Mike? All right, Mike, floor is yours.
Thanks, Josh. As you can see, we have a couple of items under my section, and I think the first that Josh is pulling up for us, the redevelopers report. We both received that today. I appreciate Don being able to stay up on this. I don't have a lot to say about what's in there, maybe just 3 comments. Turn to the second page, Josh.
Sure.
There's a second full paragraph where we talk about Connor Strong. I want to point out 2 things about the insurance. The first is that the redeveloper is compelled to deal with our broker because that's who we have the faith and confidence in. That's who we appointed as our advisor. So that's Connor Strong, and that's true both as to the Bellmawr and the borough. So they are dealing with Connor Strong because we told them to do so in the RDA. But secondly, I want to point out that it is a fairly complicated policy, not run-of-the-mill, off-the-rack stuff. Presently, the borough owns Lot 2 and has no insurance on that, and we're expecting to get insurance in place for that parcel by January of 2023. And no matter what happens when we take title, all the property will be fully insured. For all that, I've told you that it is a complicated policy, and as much as I work with insurance, we have an environmental attorney consultant online here. Not always a lot to do, but when we have them, we can call them in, and we will not recommend acceptance of the policy until Environmental Council greenlights us there. So that's number 1. Number 2, the closing is referenced at the bottom of this page, and it's all well and good to think about when we can get to closing, but no matter what happens, we will not go ahead and close until both Mr. Weinstein and I are satisfied, and we will say so in writing, that we are good to go to closing. We will then say that to you and ask for authorization to do so. That time we will be able to and authorized to go and acquire the redevelopment ground. And in addition, when the borough is ready to accept conveyance of the borough's lot 2, actually it's 2 lots, the borough's ground as well, which is a completely separate process. Third point only, and it has to do with Green Acres. There's a lot of background attached to my letter and resolution. It is not all germane to the what's in front of you tonight, which is a fairly limited issue. Nevertheless, we'll discuss it then. I do want to point out something that wasn't in the background, or maybe emphasize it. There are 2 applications that have to be made to Green Acres. Yet the subdivision that we are authorizing to be filed, the application, will encompass both of those, but they will be proceeding on separate tracks, and I'll explain why. That's pretty much it, those 3 points. There is some new stuff on NJDOT, but it's pretty much just ongoing efforts to try and get our team together to find a way, outside the box way, to expedite the construction of the roadways that will help us develop this property. So that's all I have as to the developer's report. Normally that's all I have, but I think we need to talk about the Green Acres subdivision approval that will not be approved by us, but sanctioned by us or discussed tonight. So that would, I guess we ought to start with my December 12th letter.
Right, Mike, before you do that, so I just want to segue into new business. This is the first resolution on the agenda. So then you can just take it from there. And then if we want, we can vote at the end of your presentation of what you're going through.
So what you're saying, yeah, let me go through it. And then,
right,
if you don't mind terribly, while everything's fresh in the board's mind, the commission's mind, we can talk about that resolution and get that done, and then be done hearing from me for the day. So the December 12th letter that I authored was designed primarily to emphasize what our role is. This Green Acres application that will be filed before the town planning board, which I also represent, will happen at a public hearing with our engineer's blessing, the input from the board, as well as a parallel green lights, so to speak, that to proceed by mayor and council. I think that was discussed at a caucus last night, but that'll happen at a public hearing as well. So here's what is being asked of us. In the Bellmawr, in the redevelopment agreement, we negotiated that all land use approvals of any kind, no matter how innocuous, and this Green Acres subdivision is not a development proposal, but all applications have to come before both our agency here and mayor and council. So there's not only checks and balances, but there's cooperation. So what happens first is that they've come to us and ask us for permission to go ahead and make the application to the board, and they've done so as well with the mayor and council. It did seem to me that it would make sense if our professionals were each going to review this application, no matter how simple it is, and it is simple, no matter how well intentioned it is and laudable its goals, we still ought to get together and try and in one fell swoop, let the redeveloper know what we all thought of it at the same time. Otherwise, this thing could have bandied around between the 3 of us for a couple of months. So we did that. The redeveloper's engineer was kind enough to host. We hashed out some issues, tried to make it as straightforward as possible, and the subdivision plan that is going to be submitted, should both entities agree, is now acceptable for submission by both attorneys and both engineers. And we will get to that. So I just wanted to make sure you all understood that we are not approving the subdivision. And even then, the subdivision has no development proposals to it. It is rather a necessary step required under the RDA in order to do the simple task of dividing this ground to meet the Green Acres requirements. Now, I did ask Mr. Nagowski to submit a one-page max background history, and it's amazing, but he did actually get it in one page. I hope you all had a chance to look at it, although there won't be any quizzes, but it does recap the following facts. This Green Acres subdivision and the approval in itself is only required as to our land. Technically, we need Green Acres approval because we want the borough's land to be released from its existing Green Acres requirements, which is across the entire tract. To do that, Green Acres is requiring that we accomplish a diversion, a replacement of the Green Acres land they're using. And to do that, the redevelopment is contributing 20 acres of waterfront property owned along the creek, in addition to 150 acres of ground out along the Delaware River in West Deptford. In addition, as part of the approval, Green Acres required a tidelands grant, which also has been accomplished. I saw the check. I think it was $1 million even. I've seen the deeds. So they accomplished all of that in order to release our ground, the borough's ground, from Green Acres requirements and allow that ground to be developed. Other than that, Green Acres is requiring the subdivision, actually cited the borough for a violation. It's been a dispute for some time because of an alleged intrusion upon Green Acres ground where the water tower and water treatment plant were being upgraded. Green Acres approached the redeveloper and the town, and they sort of negotiated a concept whereby from the redeveloper's ground, additional ground will be added to the Green Acres subdivision that would wipe out the entire controversy regarding the half acres. So all of that brings me to the actual plan, And Dennis, if we have you,
Mike, it seems that communicating with Dennis, his mic's not working.
well,
He can hear us. Yeah.
The truth is, Dennis, I'll present, but I'm going to need you, if I misspeak, the simple country lawyer that I am, please send Josh a text and maybe we can get it in writing. But here's all that is happening, folks. Sorry, I've got a tough throat. You see colors in front of you. The colors to the far left, the yellow and let's say magenta, is ground the borough presently owns. That will not be subdivided. It's two different lots. Oddly enough, the present subdivision lines, those two lots as constituted, are exactly perfect for the Green Acres contribution and diversion. Nothing's needed there. It's enough ground. It's not highlands and flat. So it is truly perfect. And hence there will be no subdivision as to the borough ground presently. Now, as you go along that magenta parkway that will be parklands, we get to the middle parcel. That middle parcel is owned by the redeveloper. It is entirely in the borough of Deptford, as I understand it. And the bottom part of that, the two colors, are division lines, because if you'll recall when I told you that we will be on two tracks, one parcel required because of the diversion to free our land, the borough's land. The other is the diversion required to appease the DEP for the diversionary issue having the water treatment plant. Because they'll be going on different temporal tracks, we're going to make two different lots for it, but in the end, it is all going to be part of the parklands. Now, we have no control over the subdivision. Not even our planning board doesn't, because it's going to happen in Deptford. But I thought it prudent to authorize the application over there too. So there's no dispute that even outside our borough confines applications, we wanted to see it and bless it. So the last piece, of course, is the green part of the second redeveloper parcel. And that too requires the subdivision that will have imposed upon it an easement for Green Acres purposes. If you see, though, there are two easements that will go through the property. the one to the far left on the borough property, we wanted this on the subdivision. It doesn't, strictly speaking, have to be on the subdivision. I wanted it recorded and memorializing the subdivision approval as early as possible. That upper easement area runs all the way coextensive through that lot, the borough lot, with the parkland walkway, because we wanted it wide enough for emergency access. We spent a lot of time with our emergency personnel in the town, and they made it clear to us that they wanted to be able to get down to the entirety of the walking trail. And this easement will allow them to do that. And I wanted it on the subdivision approval, even though we're not subdividing the borough's ground. So too, all the way through. In addition, though, there is going to be an easement, an access easement through the orange lot to the far right of the redeveloper until such time as we can get hooked up and connected. So for all that, the idea here is we are sanctioning the approvals across these 3 lots, but principally we are creating lots in Deptford, or we're sanctioning lots to be created in Deptford for those 2 purposes, Green Acres, as well as sanctioning the creation of the green lot located in Bellmawr to be subdivided subject to the approval of mayor and council and planning board at a public hearing. And unless I miss my guess, that's all there is to it. Our role is not to approve this. And this is not a development proposal, but rather furthering the Green Acres purposes, which is first step to getting the parkland going. Nevertheless, we have a say-so in it under the RDA we negotiated. This is our time to either green light it or say, pull the plug, which is fairly inconceivable at this point, but it's a step we negotiated for, and they're here to do it. And they're going to council, council's considering it as well. Then it'll go to the planning board, subject to public hearing, approval by the planning board's engineer, and ultimate board approval.
Hey, Mike,
That's everything.
Mike, real quick, Dennis just sent a note over the chat, and he said basically everything you said was kosher, all good.
I never get tired of hearing that. That's fine. All right, I probably spent more time on it than Howard did, but that's because I talk altogether too much. What we have now in front of us is a resolution that I prepared, that Josh was kind enough to reformat to suit your stylings. And if we go to that now, while everything's fresh in your mind, I probably ought to, my manners compel me to ask if there's any questions on anything I've said or what we are doing and are not doing tonight. We all good?
Mike, I just have one question. What's our relationship with Deptford?
Well, we
How are we with them?
presently we have none, but we have. I've spoken with their professionals. We, Chuck and I have had a meeting with their mayor. They are behind us on the timeline to get things going. They're less motivated, but they know full well that this is happening and that soon, pretty soon, we're going to negotiate with them for a services agreement because they are not in a position to service this property, although they will likely negotiate the same kind of economic deal that we have. However, they're going to have to pay for the services that we have to fund, police and the entire gamut, emergency personnel. We are in the future going to have a contractual relationship. Right now, we're just 2 cooperative municipalities, one of whom is taking lead because we have the highest interest.
Okay.
That helps.
All right. Thanks.
I've heard nothing negative though, Councilman. Nothing from them. They're just a little less motivated.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, are there any other questions for Mike before we bring it to a vote? No? All right, well. Resolution number 12:039-22, authorizing the redeveloper to make application before the Bellmawr Planning Board for a Green Acres subdivision. Real quick too, gentlemen, all the agenda items for this evening will require roll calls since they are all financial, transaction, or contractual in nature. So Just want to give a heads up there, but that brings us back to this resolution and just need a motion to begin.
I'll move.
All right, I have Mr. Bider on the motion.
Second.
I think that was Mr. Simpson. All right, bring us to a roll call. Chairman Frank Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ray Bider,
Yes.
Commissioner Jim D'Angelo,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes. Brings us to resolution number 12-040-040-22, approving adoption of the operations budget 2022. Again, same thing. We need a roll call for this item as well.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, I have Chairman Philippek on the motion, Commissioner D'Angelo on the second. Brings us to a roll call. Chairman Frank Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ray Bider,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That brings us to resolution number 12:041-22, establishing a procedure for the awarding of professional service contracts 2023.
I make a motion that we do that.
Thank you, Mr. Whitman.
I
Second.
second it.
I think somebody chimed in before you, Chairman. I'm not
That's
sure.
okay. Don't worry about it.
Who was that? Was it Jeff? I got you. All right, thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
All right, so we have Mr. Whitman on the motion, Mr. Simpson on the second. Brings us to a roll call. Chairman Frank Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ray Bider,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, final item, resolution number 12:042-22, authorizing payment of outstanding bills.
I make a motion.
All right, Chairman Philippek on the motion,
Second.
Commissioner D'Angelo on the second. Roll call. Chairman Frank Philippek,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ray Bider,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Angelo,
Yes.
Commissioner Whitman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. That is all the new business we have for this evening. Brings us to the public portion. I do believe we have one or two on the portal tonight at least, so we'll give a little bit of a delay. If anyone wishes to speak, now is the time. All right, that will conclude the public portion, which will bring us to an adjournment. Just a quick heads up. First off, happy holidays, everyone. I'll be in touch probably at the beginning of the year with dates for reorg, hopefully sooner, but probably looking towards the 3rd or the 4th Tuesday in January. So with that, just need an adjournment.
Let me say happy holidays to everybody too. Thanks for listening to me today.
You
folks.
too, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hope you all have fun.
Everyone.
Yeah, I also want to say happy holiday to everybody and thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Good thing, Mayor.
All right, just need a motion, guys.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Thank you there, Jeff.
I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Whitman. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
nays? Ayes have it. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
See y'all.